Recently, my friend had a baby, and it got me thinking about something that I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to hire one of my children to work on a business with me and then contribute money to the Roth IRA and basically have them be able to retire tax-free by the time that they're 60 with work that they do when they're young. But then I was thinking, I have my wedding coming up here in a few weeks. Why wait? I can set up their accounts now, contribute a small amount, and then eventually I'll have them work for it. But I can start the process now. I can set up all the accounts now to make them a millionaire by the time that they're set to retire without having to do anything right away. Now, there's one key to this, which we'll talk about that in a bit, but first of all, I remember growing up hearing stories about these different kinds of bonds, and I got some myself even. These bonds, these EE bonds, paid a great amount of interest, and people would give them to kids or give them to parents of kids early on to help them start saving and investing essentially. And I remember you could get 8-9% on these. Now, there's nothing like that right now. Even though the Fed is increasing interest rates, the fact is there's no easy set way to earn a good income right now. These EE bonds pay 0.1%. Now that means that there's no set way of gaining a set amount of interest, but the key is we do need to invest, because if we want to make our kid a millionaire, and let's say we could even contribute $10,000 a month, the fact is that it would take us 100 years to save that amount. We have to invest it because of the key to gaining wealth over time, compound interest. Now how this works is basically when you start investing, you start gaining yield or start gaining net worth, and as time goes on, your net worth becomes higher, which gives you a higher amount of yield overall because now you're getting more yield on what you got in the past. So now instead of getting $50, you get $52.50. You add that on top of what you already have, then you get more, $55.13, and that continues to happen until you gain more and more wealth over time, and the amount of wealth you gain is higher and higher each year. So that's not always exactly how it works out because the market goes up and down and up and down, but it does tend to go up over time, which this is really the key to gaining wealth. So the question is, how do we want to invest exactly? How can we make it sure that's diversified? And I want to do this with an amount that was replicatable that other people could do as well, because it's really easy to become a millionaire with enough time if you start with a large amount of money. But I wanted to start with something like $1,000 so that other people could do this as well. Now, $1,000 is no small amount of money, but I figured that's an amount that just about anyone can really hustle and grind out to get an extra $1,000. I remember early on in my journey, I set up bank accounts and got bank account bonuses. And if you want me to talk more about that, I will. If you want that, tell me in the comment section. But I used to be able to make about $3,000 to $5,000 a year and about $50 to $100 an hour doing that. So with that in mind, where do we go from here, right? I have $1,000 set aside, and I really want to invest this into stocks and crypto, mostly stocks for diversification and for risk management, but I think there is a lot of potential in crypto as well. Now, one of the only platforms you can do that on is FTX US. I'll put a link to this underneath the video. You get some discounts and trading fee bonuses and stuff like that, but that's one of the only places to do it. They have stocks and crypto on their website. Now, one problem that I have is I already have crypto on there, so they do have a second app that's a little bit more user-friendly. I'd say FTX US is better for people that are more experienced traders, and I like it a little bit more, but the other one is really simple. The problem is I have crypto already on FTX US, so I'll use FTX Blockfolio to hold my crypto, and we'll keep it separate. So in the past, you can see I already did a small trade to determine if this worked and to see how it worked, and I just bought $5 or $3.68 of Tesla. Now, what I really want to do is I do want to create diversification, and I think one of the best ways to do that is to buy VOO. Again, this isn't for me. This isn't to check up on every single day. So I think it would make more sense to buy something like an index fund, so that way I can just stay well diversified over time, or my child can. And we're going to start with just a few shares of VOO. So I have $900 here. I'm going to put $100 over in crypto, and I'll talk about that in a second. But you can see we're starting off here with $702 in VOO. We'll get that to about 700. I'm going to buy that, confirm, And just so everyone knows, stocks are coming here soon for everyone, but I got early access. Now, I also want to add some individual stocks, not too many, but there are a few that I think will do really well over time. So I'm going to add some shares of Tesla, just about $50 worth. Going to confirm this. I think Tesla will take over the auto industry and has a lot of growth in other industries as well. Then we're going to add some Google shares as well. Google is a dominant player out in the advertising industry and just is very cash flow generative. So we are going to add a little bit of Google as well, just about $50 worth. And then we are going to add Amazon. And as one last company in the portfolio, we are going to add Berkshire Hathaway. A lot of people don't like Berkshire Hathaway, but I think they are a good hedge against tech because they do hold a large cash position. They are really focused on companies that have high cash flow. So I am going to buy a piece of that. So you can see the portfolio down here now. The majority of it is VOO, but we do have 5% in Tesla, Google, Berkshire, and Amazon. So from there, I want to buy Bitcoin. Now, again, I have a problem because I already have Bitcoin on FTX US, so I will be using the app here, the other app, and then we'll talk about how much this will actually give us by the time that my kid is grown up. So I've gotten some free crypto already in the app. Over time, you get free crypto if you trade $10 or more. So I have $110 in here. I'm not going to go through and sell all these small positions just because it's kind of a pain if I have to do that. I'm going to actually go over to invest, Bitcoin, buy, and I'm going to buy $100 worth. So I'm going to review this. It looks good. I'm going to buy this. So they have basically half of 100th. And then you can see I also got a free Shiba Inu token. That's great. So if you guys want to do that as well, there's a link underneath the video. The second link is to this app where you can get free crypto. Now, how much will this actually give us? I don't think I'm going to have a kid for a few more years. It'll take 9 months after we decide to have a kid. So we have, let's say, 70 years before they're supposed to be retired, right? Like 67, and it'd be great if we can invest more so that they can retire earlier than that. If we start with $1,000, right, and they get a 10% rate of return, compound that annually, they'll have about $789,000. Now, you're saying that's not $1 million. Well, if you look here, I think we will get a slightly better return. We are invested into some really high growth tech names and Bitcoin as well. If we just got 10.4% over that 70 years, that would push us over $1 million. Another way to think about it is, let's say we don't get that 10.4%, but let's say just Bitcoin returns to its all-time high in the next year or so. So we're just going to say, instead of starting with $1,000, it's essentially like starting with $1,250. You can see that also brings us up to about $1 million as well. So there are a couple different ways to go about that. Now you might be saying, well, we're not going to get either of those things to happen. Bitcoin's never going to go to its all-time high. It's just going to perform the same as the market, and we're just going to start with $1,000. Well, if we contribute just a few dollars each year, let's say over the lifetime, that would be enough to push us over the edge. So $3 a month is not that much. I mean, that's less than a coffee. It's like half of a coffee at Starbucks. That would give us an extra few $100,000 and would push us over $1 million. So I set all those things up. Of course, there's not really much I can do after this point until I have a kid, and then they can start working for their Roth IRA. But I thought that was interesting to kind of go out and say, what would I do? How would I invest if I had a kid now? Right? This is more conservative than I am personally, but also my kid doesn't have an income. I don't know if they're going to be interested in this. So just building some kind of nest egg that can grow over time, I think is interesting and kind of fun, right? So let me know your thoughts on this underneath the video. Let me know if this is something that you might do, something that you might set aside for your kids, and let me know in the comment section if you want me to do an update on this regularly. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Again, there are links to FTX underneath the video. Bye.